Hi everyone, Marianne from Revealing Light, Tarot, Astrology and Spirituality. How are you today, or this evening, wherever you are in the world when you're tuning in? A huge hello to you. Thank you all for your donations. So appreciative of those, because I know when I donate, I don't, I'm not endowed with great wealth, but there are things when that I donate to, and I do that from the heart. So I know that that's what you're doing. Thank you also for those that show up and turn up to comment on the videos. Thank you very much for that and for your feedback and your ongoing questions. It's enlightening, the commentary, and so your comments are enlightening to me. And sometimes there are questions in there that I want to follow up. I don't have the time to do all the questions, but certainly there are major questions there that that are very informative. So thank you for fielding those. I would have done a new moon in Aquarius a day or two ago, but I've not been well. I'm okay, no COVID, no one has COVID, touch wood, but from time to time as a cancer survivor, there's a legacy there from treatment, and it just barrels me over, and so that's what's been happening. But it's okay, it's under control and I'm back in the seat and back recording, so I'm really pleased to be here and do this video for you, and thank you for being here with me. Now, the reason that I wanted to really do the new moon in Aquarius, and it's still sitting with me, the chart a day or two later, in fact, in the US and other countries in the Northern Hemisphere, it will be the 2nd of February 2022. That in itself, with all of those, 2 is the number of unity, and of course, one might be, well, 1 is the I, the identity, the start, the initiation of everything. And then 2 is more the we. And so there is a big emphasis on people coming together. So that in itself brings me to doing this video in Australia where I live. It's the 3rd of February, and 3 is one of my favorite numbers. The moon in Australia has moved into Pisces, one of my favorite signs. That's what's on my midheaven. So it seemed a good reason to jump on and do a video today. I want to go back to that new moon in Aquarius chart because I think it is really, really significant. So bear with me while I do this, and I'll tell you why I think that. Okay, all right, so I did this chart, I cast this chart a few days ago. I did it over Washington, DC, because that to me, a lot of my subscribers are American, and of course America is really under the pump in more ways than one, with a Pluto return coming down the pike on the 22nd of February 2022. So there again you have another emphasis on the we, on the unity. And so when I looked at this chart, I thought it really is, as we move into the month of February, very, very enlightening to me, mainly because of the stack of planets here in the 3rd house, straddling both Capricorn and Aquarius, of course. And then in the 2nd house, we have Mars and Venus in Capricorn. As you know, the North nodes around about the 19th of January moved into Taurus, and the South node into Scorpio. So there are two themes that jump out at me in this chart. And that is our need for stability. Increasingly seeing a more and more unstable world as this, I guess, connected communication, mass communication. We dove into that, didn't we? And we didn't really put any guardrails around that at all. You know, what is true, what is untrue, what defames, what doesn't defame, what, you know, is violent, causes violence, incite violence. We didn't really have a fundamental look at that. And so really, in a way, we're reaping what we sow, bearing in mind there is freedom of speech, but there is also responsibility in speech, and a basic tenet of do no harm. Do no harm. So, okay, here we have Pluto. Now, Pluto here is squaring Eris in the 6th house of public service, having to work at something. And so we see here that we are looking, there seems to be a theme in this new moon in Aquarius of communication. I think that it plays out in the US in a number of ways. Pluto is the great unearther. Pluto will bring things up from the literally from the underworld. We get to see what is hidden, what is below the surface, and there are no insignificant matters when Pluto enters the mix, because Pluto is a very, very deep dive down to the murky depths. So the moon in Aquarius, that higher ideal, that higher mind, sitting there with the sun here and sitting alongside Mercury and Pluto just about conjunct in the 3rd house, we can expect, and we have had, a litany of facts and evidence emerge about what has remained hidden up until now. And really, this has been the theme of the year. New moons is when they're a time for casting intentions. So I watch the new moons for themes that might emerge during the month. And we have the full moon when we bring something to a close. And the next full moon is in Leo, I think, on the 18th of February. I think in February, we're going to see some major developments, which will be communicated, could be around communications, who was saying what to whom. And of course, Eris here, Pluto squaring Eris, you know that Eris was the goddess of discord. And so we know that what might be unearthed is around the January 6th insurrection. I did a reading earlier in the week about the old guard of the Republican Party versus the ex-president version of the Republican Party. And one of the things to emerge from that reading was that the Liz Cheney was being helped by the likes of the old guard of the Republican Party, Mitch McConnell et al. There was also the donors of the Republican Party were. This is a concerted effort to get rid of Trump. Now we have it breaking, I think it's today, that McConnell has says there's no place for Trump. You know, he doesn't want to see him. I think it was on Joe Scarborough, Mornings with Joe, doesn't want to see Trump leading the Republican Party. So I think there is, of the old guard of the Republican Party, a real push. Why is this happening? Because people want stability. People want stability, and they've seen what occurs in the Trumpian reality, and it is anything but stable. So we're hearing more and more Mercury, Pluto, ensuring, squaring Eris. We're hearing more and more, and we will continue to hear more and more on the insurrection, on the failed coup attempt as February moves along. Now, the sun and the moon here, again, squaring Uranus energy. Now, if you notice in this DC chart, it is in the 7th house, which is the house of open enemies. And so again, we see it's no surprise that the ex-president is calling on his supporters to stand up and be violent should he be charged with anything. Saturn there conjunct with the sun and moon in this third house of communication. It really does, and of course squaring Uranus as well. Uranus brings in the new. Uranus is the agent of change. Uranus in Taurus, though, is saying, yes, we need change, but not at the expense of our stability. Now, when I say that, who is saying that? We need change. The old system doesn't work for a lot of people, but not at the expense of upending our reality, not upending our safety, not upending our systems that have been established. But we also know those same systems are not working for everybody. But Saturn is saying, Saturn Sun squaring Uranus in Taurus is saying there needs to be work. It's no good just paying all of this lip service. There actually needs to be work, to bring stability here, but also to bring much needed change. Now, another interesting aspect of this chart to me was Pluto trining Ceres and the North Node moving into Taurus. So again, what is being, it's like the universal synchronicity, I think I heard it described, astrology and the planets, and their placements, is telling us again that there will be an abundance, almost an abundance of information coming out. Ceres, of course, here in Gemini is also uncovering information around the pandemic, but I don't want to go into the pandemic. I've done a lot on the pandemic and the various forces that push, pull, and the various interests and beliefs and values. I don't want to get into that. But suffice to say that there is so much being uncovered. When we look over here in the second house, Mars and Venus in Capricorn, there is a trine again to Uranus. So I see this chart as really things are being helped along. And I've said that all year, that the astrology and in the cards, we see an unfolding that is necessary. Who is pulling these strings? We are. The collective is. The collective perhaps learns and knows where they want to go. And we have Mars and Venus sextiling Jupiter in Pisces, and Pluto sextiling Neptune in Pisces as well. Again, all favourable, harmonious aspects where we can see these energies are working toward each other. If I had have seen Mars squaring off against something or opposing something, it might be a different matter. But we see a lot of harmony or harmonious energy helping, planets helping, complementing, working together. But we also see these squares as well. So I don't think we should take anything for granted at this time. So a lot is being said, and I have said in the past, I'll just stop this share, about Uranus squaring Pluto and what that brings. We had a number of exact squares in 2020 and 2021, I think it was. And at each time we had a major burst of a new variant and another major burst of chaos. And I think Mars was squaring Pluto on January the 6th as well. So it won't be exact going forward in 2022, but it will come very close to being exact within a degree or two or more throughout the course of the year. More on that later. Suffice to say that there is a a show I think I would recommend everybody watch. You can watch it for free on on the 22nd of February. The Changing of the Gods, and it deals really with this Pluto squaring Uranus and how when this has happened in history, there's been major changes, wars, famines, breakdowns, chaotic kind of conditions, and so I think you should watch that. I'll post a link to where you can get that free. Watch this free on below this in the drop down menu of this video. Now, when I did my last reading, I had predicted that troops would actually be sent to Eastern Europe to join NATO. Obviously, America's not launching a war on its own. Obviously, America's not launching a war, but there is an effort among the NATO allies to really show some visible deterrence to Putin as he amasses hundreds and thousands of troops on the border of Ukraine. It really is a game of Russian roulette. It's really very volatile. If you want an update on any of those Russia readings, please do see my last, I think it's my last video. Well, I've done a couple in the last few months. So if you're interested in the Russia matter, please do go and have a look at those. Changing of the Gods, Pluto squaring Uranus. I actually have Uranus and Pluto in my third house. So hence my communication can be lightning, I guess some people might see it coming out of left field sometimes. Nevertheless, that's who I am. I've always been a communicator, and it's obviously with my moon in Libra, communication around things that need to come to the surface to be dealt with, so change can occur. All right, now, after my last video where I talked about Trump, he's not president, obviously, but he's saying if he gets in 2024, then he will pardon these insurrectionists. However, you know, it was pointed out, obviously he could have pardoned them before, but he didn't. Trump won't be the president in 2024. He will be facing multiple indictments, and just the breadth of those legal matters he's facing is stunning. And I published, after a link was given to me, I published that on my Facebook page if you're interested in looking just how many cases he is facing, whether they be civil or criminal. A lot of you have said, come on, what's Merrick Garland doing? Now, getting back to why I did that new moon in Aquarius chart, or gave it a bit of a look-see, I do feel we're going to get major revelations, major communication coming out in the month of February. And so I want to test my theory. Is Trump going to be facing indictment in February? Again, when I've looked at the cards in the past, I feel he already knows there is a good chance he's going to be indicted. I think his legal advice has already told him that. And that would explain him asking his base to rise up and descend into violence. So we can see that the North Node is working for us, in that nobody wants a repeat of January the 6th. And so that includes the old guard of the Republican Party. Let's take a look. People are saying, well, come on, Merrick Garland, isn't there enough there? Merrick Garland is being very quiet on the matter, although they did say the fake electors were part of an ongoing investigation. So let's take a look. We know the FBI has raided Sidney Powell, Trump's former lawyer, Sidney Powell's offices. There's good signs, good hints that there is an investigation into the insurrection attempts at a coup. Okay, we have Barr, we have Chris Smith, is it? The installed head of defence, all talking to the January 6th committee. Trump's former communications manager, Kayleigh McEnany, is also sharing communications with them. All right, so let's take a look at the DOJ under Merrick Garland, the other Scorpio. Now with Scorpio, of course, I guess they're associated with the scorpion, and of course the sting in the tail. But when they are in their higher placement, their higher mind, they become the eagle. The eagle's a very powerful symbol. Of course, the eagle is one of your symbols. So emblems, I should say. Merrick Garland, let's tune into his energy. What's he doing? What is he doing? So I'm seeing caped and hooded people. What is this? It's almost like the death card. No, he's not going to pass away, but bringing something to an end. We've got the Empress here, abundance. So is Merrick Garland currently, and that death card came up for a reason in the ex-president's reading, all before all of this came out, all before the January 6th insurrection committee, investigative committee was established. Merrick Garland, are you investigating Trump for an attempted coup? Merrick Garland, are you? There's a deep dive. It's like very, very cloak and dagger. Very, very deep. Like murky Pluto energy, really down the bottom there. Communications, looking at communications, access to communications. Okay, Merrick Garland, did you receive all of the National Archives communications as part of an investigation into an attempted coup? Because that's what I felt. Okay, we've got the Hierophant, which is the government card. That will be a yes. Look with the seeing eye, the eyeglass there, very focused looking. The Hierophant crossed by the Prince of Cups, the Knight of Cups. The Knight of Cups, of course, I'm using the Cosmic Tarot. I'm just smiling at this card because this Knight is pretty intent on something. So the Knight of Cups talks about those that, ooh, wow, sorry, there's the Scorpion there. There's the Scorpion. So there's an intensity here with this Knight of Cups crossing the Hierophant. Perhaps not wanting, the Knight of Cups draws people in. It's a quick energy. Perhaps talking with those that surrounded the ex-president. What's going on here? Two of Wands is something coming to fruition in time. You need to be patient. 2 weeks. 2 weeks, perhaps. Something coming to fruition in time. Be patient. The sun is coming out of the clouds. There is a joining of these 2 wands. Two. In the past, we have the 10 of Cups. 10 of Cups, of course, is a completion. It is all about unconditional love, but for me, it signifies the voter. You know, I would imagine that Merrick Garland takes his responsibilities to the American people very seriously. King of Wands, yeah. Okay, that's in the sky. There's these are more the courts, and I wonder if there is. Would we know that there is a grand jury empaneled looking at this? I know I'm not talking about Fulton County, but these are judges. That's in the sky. That's what's crowning the reading. Six of Swords in the immediate future. This is moving out of troubled waters. It's movement of some kind. In the here and now, the Four of Wands. So this is my card for the Democrats. So there's a lot around the committee, a lot around Democrats being in power right now. The atmosphere around is the Wheel of Fortune. So there seems to, the other aspect of the Four of Wands is there's celebrations of community. The Wheel of Fortune tells us that this is Jupiter energy. Now in that chart we had Jupiter in the 4th house of home and security, the feminine, and it was sextiling, if from memory, Mars and Venus. Now I think Garland has planets in his 2nd house. I'm going to take a look at his chart, see if we can get a handle in a future reading. Again, the Nine of Pentacles in the hopes and fears, independence, being seen. Anything he does needs to be seen as independent, both from the governing party, from the White House. Who better than a appeals court judge to actually be seen as independent? He's taking that really seriously. Do you want to guess what the outcome card is? Now that's a yes, the Ace of Swords. It talks about getting to the truth. It's talking about a truth emerging. The Two of Cups, the commitment, the two. Now we've got a theme around two. And we have the Princess of Cups. When he does go with his indictments, when there are charges, it'll be done lightning quick and will take us by surprise. Does he already have a grand jury impaneled? Are there other courts looking at this? Six of Pentacles, giving and receiving help, loans, debts, who helped who. The Hermit card talks about something under review, but you wouldn't necessarily know about it because the Hermit card is on his or her own. Seven of Wands, defending oneself, battening off the naysayers. And the Eight of Wands, something coming out very, very quickly. I think we're going to hear from the DOJ on this, and perhaps with the first, I don't see, it's not going to be, all the charges won't be announced at the one time, but perhaps with the first of indictments here. Can he impanel a grand jury without us knowing? Could it be done with that sort of secrecy? Let's ask. I don't know. Oh, this one wanted to come out. Eight of Wands, communications. Things coming out really quickly. Hold on. Let's get rid of the tickle in my throat. Okay. Let's look for a few yes cards just quickly. I just want to say, I think Trump's lawyers have told 10 of Cups and the Queen of Swords. Whoa, she's powerful, that Queen of Swords. He could have a woman. It is the woman. The woman. It is is it the Assistant Attorney General is kind of like in charge of this. Can they impanel a grand jury without us knowing? Is there a grand jury impaneled? Not the Fulton one. Or they could be, no. Could they be using the Fulton County grand jury? Has the DOJ impaneled a grand jury? Where did the warrants for the FBI to go and raid Sidney Powell's officers, what authority were they given on? We've got 8 of Swords, so we've got restriction here. We've got 8 of Cups. There's a loss here. We've got the 10 of Wands. It's really, really difficult here. 3 of Pentacles in the past. There are forces working together. The best people are on the job. The Lovers in the sky. That's are those around. The ex-president. There's a strategy here. The 7 of Swords not just means lies and deceit, but there is a strategy here because of the situation, the here and now. The 8 of Wands, we're going to hear something major. 7 of Wands, and it'll be when what we do here there will be accusations. Whatever we hear it, there will be accusations of partisanship, hopes and fears that the truth will be enough. Has he empaneled? Magician, manifestation, which would be a yes card. 3 of Swords, betrayal, clarified by betrayal, and the Queen of Cups, something coming out. Remember that Knight of Cups was there as well. What's in that cup? The Fool card, new starts. 2 of Swords, really heavy burdens and heavy decisions. Around betrayal, there's a big theme here of betrayal and loss, and just underscoring the severity with the 10 of Wands, the severity of this. Okay, it's possible there could be some kind of court involved already here. I don't know how that works. I'm just going to leave it out there. Okay, so one more. I want to go back to the ex-president. I want to go back to the number of 2s, indicating February is a really important month here. Will an indictment be announced in February for the ex-president? That's yes. There he is, the Lovers, Gemini card, and Strength. So my cards are saying, I mean, they're 3 yes cards. Princess of Pentacles, information coming out, which allows us to move forward. And the 5 of Wands at the base of the pack, the underlying energy, the 2 and the Hierophant, 2 of Wands and the Hierophant. I think it's possible, entirely possible, that the DOJ may, or the government, if you want to call it, may announce charges. There's something around 2 weeks, 2 months, but I'm going to go out on a limb a bit and say these cards would be indicating directly to that question that there will be charges announced. Now, the Lovers card can also mean those within his sphere, you know, and that's what they do. They start on the outer circle and they work in. However, I'm going to say that I don't think there's any doubt that the DOJ is investigating an attempted coup. It is possible there's a court involved. Don't ask me how that happens. And it is possible. I can't give you a guarantee, but it is possible that we will see a major revelation and perhaps more than likely a charge. Will that be for the president? Well, you saw the cards, use your own intuition. It's either him or those around him. And if it is those around him, it's only a question of time till it gets to him. Will all this take place before the midterms? I think there's volatility leading up to the midterms. We see that in the astrology. I think that's when Uranus and Pluto square off again, not exact, but close to it. I think September, October, November. So we see a lot of volatility occurring in the lead up to the midterms. Let's see what happens. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. Appreciate your support.